ever since we've seen him burst onto the scene, he's just one of those players that can play 360 degrees. He's the new breed of cricketer. Well, any cricketer, all right, that can bat, hit sixes. He can bat properly as well. If you're losing 3 or 4 wickets and he comes to the crease, he's got the technique to survive a team bowling well at him. And then when he unleashes at the end, and with that flick of the wrist, we've all seen it, he can hit boundaries, he can hit huge sixes. Popley's that tall bowler. He looks to swing the ball back into the right-hander, but he also can make it go across. He's got good slow balls. He's good round the wicket and over the wicket.
Right, so India winning the T20 series, winning the ODI series by the same scoreline, 2-1. And we have Darren Gough in this final show to review everything which has gone on and a little bit more, of course, as we always have with him. Darren, first and foremost, how are we on a brand new week, I should say?
Oh, a wonderful week. It's really hot. It's like being in Mumbai, actually, here in London today. It's red hot. The sun is shining. The jacuzzi is ready for me to pop in about half an hour. All good, my friend.
Oh my God, the jacuzzi is definitely something tempting in terms of that description there. But look, let's get straight into it, because there was something to savour on a Super Sunday, at least from an Indian perspective. Rishabh Pant in that 125 not out, his maiden one-day international century. How good was it? Let's just start there.
Well, it was everything that you'd expect from Rishabh Pant. I think ever since we've seen him burst onto the scene, he's just one of those players that can play 360 degrees. He's the new breed of cricketer that we're seeing around the world now. He is full of confidence. He believes in his own ability. And you can see why. I think I said to you at the start of the series, by the way, you have to play Rishabh Pant no matter what. He's finding his best position where he can help India win games of cricket. If he bats for 25, 30 overs, India are always going to have a huge total. He's one of the better players. England have moved Josh Buttler in a lot of their cricket to open the batting, because they realised, and we've seen him in the IPL as well, they've realised, but if he can bat 20 overs, he's going to score 150. So you have to get him in as soon as you can. There's no point in him sat in the hutch and just waiting. You get your best players in and you let them bat. And if they bat the time, you get a big total. It's simple as that. And he's shown the world how good he is now in all formats, not just white ball, in red ball as well. This year has been a big year for Pant.
Yeah, fun fact, since 2020, no other Indian batsman has got more hundreds than Rishabh Pant, 4. I think there's another man who's got 4, so let us know in the comments below for all the viewers watching this. Just a little bit more about Pant and what this knock has done. Has it reassured him in terms of his own form and the critics around him, in particular the white ball cricket side of things?
Well, I don't even know why he got any criticism anyway. You can tell he's just an unbelievably gifted cricketer. And as I said at the start, this guy, you give him his wings and he will fly. And he has done. It's just a no-brainer that he's going to get runs. Yes, he will go in bits of where form might just dip a little bit. And you've seen that with a couple of players. You've seen it with Virat Kohli, right? His form's dipping a little bit and it's getting concerning for a lot of people out there. But class always comes back. It will always come back. And these guys are quality. And Pant, once he gets going now, the confidence is high. You only have to look at Babar Azam from Pakistan. Once he started scoring runs, he's now on that roll. You can't stop him. Joe Root, once he started scoring hundreds, we can't stop him. And that's what happens to cricketers. No matter how confident you are as an individual, the only one thing that helps you give you confidence is currency. And that's either getting runs or taking wickets.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, some say that centuries are infectious, so hopefully from a Rishabh Pant perspective and in India perspective, to be honest, that continues. Now, one other man who was, of course, huge for India in terms of this series, the whole white ball leg that is Hardik Pandya. Now, is he the most valuable player for Team India right now, based in form, Goughy?
Well, any cricketer, all right, that can bat, hit sixes. He can bat properly as well. If you're losing 3 or 4 wickets and he comes to the crease, he's got the technique to survive a team bowling well at him. And then when he unleashes at the end, and with that flick of the wrist, we've all seen it, he can hit boundaries, he can hit huge sixes. With a ball in hand, as I've always said, he's quicker than you think. He's got a good slower ball. He's quite clever, so he bowls good Yorkers. He's adapted his game, has improved massively through years and years of playing in the IPL now. And you look at any team that's got an all-rounder who can bat, bowl, field, it's a complete cricketer. It's three-dimensional, and they're worth their gold in any team. This is why, at the minute, we've got Ben Stokes. We all know Ben is an unbelievable cricketer, but he's struggling with injuries at the moment. He's kind of nursing his knee. And we're not seeing the best of him every single game because some days it's really painful, his injuries that he's got, and we have to just step him back. He's been stepped back now from the South Africa series. So an all-rounder who can bat, bowl in all conditions and field is gold dust. And Hardik Pandya is that player for India at this moment in time.
Yeah, Hardik Pandya, absolute breath of fresh air in terms of how he's come back into the Indian scheme of things after leading his IPL team to success as well. Now, one theme which was brightened, some would say, in this series was India against left-arm pace. You cast your mind back all the way to 2015. It was Mitchell Starc in that World Cup. Then 2017, Mohammad Ahmed. 2019, Bolt. I think Jansen earlier this year. Topley in the series. Goughy, what is with India's top order in particular against left-arm pace? I think your mate Nasser also said post-match that they should really look at playing left-arm pace and play it well, especially in ICC competitions. How do they kind of tick that box out of the way?
Well, they have to get as many left-arm bowlers bowling at them in practice. And I think India have always produced left-arm bowlers, by the way. They've had some good ones over the years. And I think because there is still a small number of left-arm pacers around the world, but they are worth, again, you always want one in your team if you can get it. Most teams do have them now. England have got more than probably most. We've got about 5 to choose between. They're all different as well. As I said, Topley's that tall bowler. He looks to swing the ball back into the right-hander, but he also can make it go across. He's got good slow balls. He's good round the wicket and over the wicket. You got David Willey, who's got a 35 or 36% strike rate in his first over in cricket. So we know he's going to be effective with a new ball, not as effective as the ball gets older. Sam Curran can bowl with a new ball because he swings it back in. He's got a bit more pace than the others. And he bowls good Yorkers. And he can bowl again round the wicket. We've seen him do it a lot in the IPL, and we've seen him do it with his county Surrey. So they're all different, those 3 guys. And I think India just need to practice against it. You remember the time when everybody struggled against leg spin? Guess what? Everybody faced lots of leg spin, and they've become better at playing it. Still not perfect, but got better. So what they have to do now, India, is make sure wherever they go, they ask for left-armers to bowl at them in the nets. That's the only way you can get better. And I can see why sometimes a good left-armer is hard to pick up, because you're used to the angle as a right-hander. If it swings in the first 3 or 4 overs and then it can go across you, it can be very, very hard to line up a left-arm seamer. And it's always been the same. You go back to the day of Wasim Akram when he was bowling. How good was he? You look at Shaminder Bass from Sri Lanka. How good was he? These guys have always been difficult to pick up. And the better they are, the world-class bowlers they are, they'll be around for a long, long time. And Topley's really upped his game in this one, because I believe he probably was under a little bit of pressure to perform. He's always done okay, but this series against arguably the best team in the world, India, he's really stepped up with a 6-4 and a 4-4. So I now believe he's put his name right on the sheet there for a starting place, possibly for England at the World Cup.
Right, let's see how it peters out for England, and we'll just talk about best bowling choices with Goughy in terms of England 50-over format cricket. That is something that we want to definitely pick his mind upon. But before that, what is England's biggest takeaway from this series? I know that Joss admitted that they didn't play their best cricket in the post-match press conference. They have South Africa on Durham on Tuesday, at Durham on Tuesday, I should say. What's the biggest cause of concern if you're in the mix?
Well, the only concern is, and it's not a concern because, again, he's world-class, is Joe Root. If Joe Root gets runs, we're getting 300 plus every game. Unfortunately, India bowled well to him. They got him out twice for naught, and that's a big part of it. When you play against a team, you bowl against India, you want to get Kohli out, you want to get Rohit Sharma out. You play against England, you want to get Joe Root out. The others are dangerous, we know that, but Joe Root anchors the innings for England. He's the player that wants to bat through. If they lose an early wicket, he's the one who wants to be there till the 45th over. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. And then the middle order got exposed, and the middle order didn't get the runs you would expect as normal. Livingston was short of runs, Moeen Ali was short of runs, and Buttler, except for a fine 60 yesterday, was short of runs. So that was the biggest problem. One of the top three has got to go on and bat through, and they didn't.
Yeah, let's see if that kind of comes unstuck or doesn't in due course of time. Now, it makes me think about Owen Morgan, the batsman as well, who was doing such a good job when he was out there in terms of 2009 to 2019, averaging over 40, striking at 94. Do you think Ben Stokes or Buttler or someone else could take that mantle that Morgan used to do, because he was really underrated in 50-over cricket?
Well, it is, but he always played to the conditions, Owen Morgan. So even if, no matter what, he used to come in and just play his normal game in all conditions. He led from the front. What he wanted the rest of the team to do, he had to make sure he did it. And even at the end, when he decided to call it a day against the Netherlands, he went in situations which weren't ideal when you're someone who's struggling for runs, but he carried on trying to play the way he wants everybody else to play in his team. Now, Buttler has got to carry on playing the way he's always played the last 2 years, because he has been outstanding in one day, in white ball cricket, right? Whether it be 50 overs or T20. The problem is he's going to need players around him to get the runs. And I think when you're talking about Roy, who's had a disappointing series, we know how top class he is, and Bairstow, they've not got going in this ODI series. And Root, that is a big foundation for any team. If your top three don't get runs, you're putting too much pressure on the middle order. The middle order can't keep rescuing situations. India have had that a little bit as well in this 50 overs. I think both teams have probably not batted as well as they would have liked at the top of the order. So that's two areas. That's the area for both teams they've got to work on in their next series.
It starts for England against South Africa, of course, like I just mentioned. India, of course, go to Trinidad and play their first game at the 22nd, the first one international that is from Port of Spain. And you can catch all the coverage on cricket.com. Lastly, just to wrap up this preview with Goughy, we spoke about England's bowlers in terms of Topley, Willie, there was Bryden Cast as well, and Overton who played. But all bowlers fit, and I'm talking about Archer, Wood, so on and so forth. Who will you pick for the one-day international format first, and then the T20 format?
Well, I think it's going to be one off Topley and Willie at the minute. It all depends who they go for. Topley has put his name really in the hat now, but Willie is still the best guy with that new ball swinging back into the right-hander. But he also, his biggest strength, he's an unbelievable fielder, by the way, David Willie, and he can bat. We've seen that he's getting important runs for England down in that position, and that's the reason Yorkshire didn't get him for finals day the other day, which I was hugely disappointed about, because he's a big player for someone who can get runs and bowl. So Archer and Wood, I think, come into the side without a doubt. Then if one of them's not fit, you've got Bryden Cast, who they know they want to bowl those middle overs, hit the splice, good slow ball, good Yorker. But I think ideal world would be you've got Archer, you've got Wood, you've got Rashid, you've got Willie or Topley, and Ali and Livingston and Stokes. You've got loads of variety there with the bowling. And England's best side for me, you're looking at Roy, Bairstow, Root, Stokes, Buttler, Livingston, Ali, Willie, because if he had to bat 8 or Topley, Rashid, Wood, Archer. And then in the squad, you'd have Cast, Salt or Brook, Sam Curran and Gleeson. If it were T20, you'd have Gleeson into the side as well. But I think they're the best bowlers, realistically, for both white ball formats. Gleeson comes into the T20 squad.
Yeah, it looks a very potent attack on paper, and even in reality, we've seen how these bowlers have performed, especially in bilaterals and the ICC tournaments before. Well, thanks so much, Darren Gough, for, of course, making your time felt in this review scheme of things. Just a quick word for the fans of cricket.com, your fans, and how much fun you've had being with us throughout this tour.
Well, listen, I love cricket. I watch it every day. I watch cricket all around the world. And working to an Indian audience with cricket.com, you've been absolutely fantastic. I've loved it. I hope to see you all very, very soon. You've got a wonderful, wonderful cricket team. They are great entertainers. They're great to watch. You've got fast bowlers like you've not believed. They're as good as anything else in the world. You've got a batting lineup that entertain me every time I watch them. You've got spinners that create so much variety, leg spin, left arm wrist spin, off spin, left arm spin. You've got a real fight in place to pick your best two spinners in the Indian lineup. It's a great side. They're great to watch. And I'm looking forward to the next series and see how they keep developing. Because come this World Cup, this next World Cup, India are one of the teams that are going to be right up there in the top three in both World Cups, 20 overs and 50 overs. But guess what? England are going to be there also.
Always cheeky as ever, but we've had so much fun with Darren Gough, and there's plenty of content that we've of course put out on our platform already, like the bowling clinic and all things that you want to know about in terms of reverse swing, conventional swing, cross seam. Goughy explains it all. Thanks for watching. It's a goodbye from me, Avnish Hegde. We'll catch you soon for the West Indies series, of course, that is hitting our screen soon.